In days long ago, there was no Bravo. There was no overall group to hand out a steady stream of money for the arts, because there was no steady stream of money to hand out. But that was $23 million and 200 grants and 10 years ago. That was in the early years of this century, when today's leaders were young folks. That was in the days when the city was saying it just didn't have the money to support the arts, and the arts were wondering where to go. But about that time, too, the wise men and women of the Greater Des Moines Partnership made a strategic decision. Quality of life, they said, should be the driver for economic development in Greater Des Moines. And quality of life meant museums and theaters and exhibits and performances and all those things that make Des Moines so special. How can we build on what we have, they asked. How can we add even more? How can we be the best? So they invented Bravo. There was nothing quite like it then. There is nothing quite like it now, anywhere in the nation. Bravo gathers tax money from throughout the region, puts it in a pot, and then distributes it irrespective of geography, irrespective of politics, irrespective of pressures.
The money comes mainly from visitors to the metro area through the hotel-motel tax. So the hotels collect 7 cents for every dollar that is spent, and 2 of those 7 pennies come back to Bravo. It adds up.
Last year, they added up to $3.3 million. That money comes from Altoona and Ankeny and Bondurant and Carlisle and Clive and Des Moines and Grimes and Indianola and Johnston and Norwalk and Polk City and Polk County and Urbandale and Waukee and West Des Moines and Windsor Heights. 16 local governments. It was not easy to come up with Bravo. It required a lot of work. There were heroes galore. Steve Zumbaugh was there at the beginning and became the first chairman of Bravo. He worked tirelessly, thought creatively, persuaded endlessly. He is Bravo's godfather.
Without Steve, there would be no Bravo.
It required an immense amount of cooperation. It meant that the suburbs needed to agree to support arts and cultural organizations in Des Moines. Now, we all knew that would be difficult, but we believed it could be done.
Buy-in from the suburbs was vital. West Des Moines Mayor Gene Meyer signed on right away.
Well, Bravo was the cornerstone and frankly, a huge first step a decade ago that really moved the needle, set the bar for regional cooperation because, as we stated, every community had a need for funds. And so people began to understand that it improved all of our qualities of life to cooperate in this manner and create this regional entity called Bravo Greater Des Moines.
It meant Des Moines and the suburbs would have to give up a chunk of their take from the hotel-motel tax. That was particularly tough for Des Moines, where budgets are always tight. Rick Clark, then the city manager, had plenty of uses for the money.
If there was any way that the suburban communities would all be willing to contribute 2/7 of the hotel motel, by all means, the city of Des Moines would have to do it. And so that was really how it came about.
And Scott Cirksena, the mayor of Clive, helped keep the idea alive.
Well, a metro area needs a rich culture, and when everyone participates, everybody benefits.
Connie Weimer was in at the beginning too. Crucially, she stepped in and said her wine fest would underwrite many of the administrative costs of Bravo. And the Suku and Barry show, the annual gala started by Suku Radia and Barry Griswold, brings in money too. So today, 95% of the hotel tax money that Bravo gets goes directly to arts and cultural organizations. Just 5 cents of every dollar to administration.
It was very important that we use the tax money effectively. Every penny was vital then, and it's vital now.
The idea from the beginning was simple. Bravo will not compete with the arts organizations in seeking funds from individuals and foundations and corporations, whose generosity sometimes seems endless.
Public funding is a great augment because it shows that the community values these organizations, and I really think that it is important that Bravo augment what we're doing with the rest of our funding, and it's truly allowed us to continue to grow our donor base, which is very important.
The zoo has built 4 new exhibits and rebuilt 4 other exhibits. Most likely, none of those may have happened without Bravo's support.
So that's the journey so far. A terrific idea, loads of hard work and heavy lifting, unprecedented cooperation, and strong leadership. But is it the driver of economic development that the founders hoped for? Well, since Bravo started, billions of dollars have been spent on economic development in the metro area.
Bravo Greater Des Moines has been a key driver of economic development in central Iowa. It has been a key factor in making Greater Des Moines even greater.
Now, what's next?
Since Bravo started, more than 75 arts, culture, and heritage organizations in Greater Des Moines have received grant awards totaling more than $25 million. Bravo's impact has been huge, and we know it's just going to keep getting bigger.
It is a good thing, for it means more arts and culture expanding into the metro, and that means there are more fun and interesting things for all of us to do.
And there's more money, too. The metro area is growing, and more money is coming into Bravo. Bravo's leaders, men and women from all the participating governments and from the private sector, are working on strategies to make sure every dollar is leveraged to make Greater Des Moines an even greater place to live. A place that is more fun, more interesting, and more exciting. So that's the story. That's how Bravo became Bravo. Well, not entirely. Bravo became Bravo because no one could come up with a name, until one day, Ron Pearson blurted out Bravo with a capital B, and everyone said, Bravo.